Speaking of which, here we are, sitting very restfully on this bench. My name is Kristen. I'm joined by Khadidja, and we're here on the day number 3 of Placemaking Week Europe. And Khadidja, I'd love if you can introduce yourself to those that will be watching this video later on.
So, do I keep? Okay, thank you. I feel like a pop star with this thing. So, hello everyone watching or listening. Not sure. Both. I'm Khadidja. This is going to be probably the hardest question because you never know where to start from. Yes, I'll start from. I'm from Italy, originally from the Northeast. I'm a placemaker, and my background is in architecture. And I think as we started, I love just making people feel comfortable wherever they are. And it looks like something easy, but it's not. Because our spaces and cities, most of the time, don't make us feel comfortable or healthy. Going back to the movement.
Yeah. What's needed to make a space more comfortable?
I feel sometimes it's a matter of just asking people what they need to make a space comfortable, because what makes me feel comfortable probably doesn't make feel comfortable someone else. So it's really a matter of being able to listen to who is using the place, and then sometimes even making the space and transforming it into a place with the people you are listening to. It's a very powerful tool, because whenever you make something with someone else, it's when you become more empathetic, even with what are the needs and what are even the dreams of someone else. So I guess listening first, and then go crazy and nuts with any transformation. And sometimes it's even like something super easy, like we could have a pillow on this bench and make it more comfortable for someone like me.
We need to snag a cushion from on the steps over there. So you're also working with STIPO, correct?
Correct.
And what kind of work are you specifically doing? Like we talked about also gathering a lot of insights from different stakeholders. Maybe you can dive deep, especially those that are looking for a career within the placemaking field, some stuff that you're working on.
So I feel what's really amazing of being a placemaker, you can come from so many different angles. I mean, you can be a psychologist, a politician, an architect, an urbanist. So it really depends on what's your passion. Because, for making a place, you need so many different, profession and skills. So we are the sum of the skills we bring. But in my case, I'm an architect. So I think my role in every project is to understand what are the best tools and what are the best timings to get people involved. And because at least in Italy, sorry Italians, most of the time we think that doing engagement is just consulting people. So you go, you do a huge assembly, everybody says something, and then we leave. Well, there are so many different ways you can go through it. You can do things. I mean, having even a picnic can be a consultational moment if you want. So you can do it in so many different ways. You can also do it in different times. And I think the base, it's being super transparent on what you're asking and what is really the power people have in changing whatever we are talking about, whether it's a building, whether it's a square, whether it's a program or a service, because we can really touch almost everything and anything, and it comes back to you need different professionals at the table in doing it. And I think it's what gets me more excited of my job. Like, I'm never alone. There is always someone, to bounce ideas off. And I feel the most you go out of your sphere and your profession, the more you find new ideas and new solutions. And I think it's what amazes me the most.
Yeah, I really also noticed that being part of this Placemaking Europe network is just how collaborative everybody is and open to share ideas, bounce ideas off each other, like you mentioned. Also joining these sessions the past couple days. Yeah, it's for me, it's really amazing to see all the different ideas sort of flowing and getting feedback on them and so on. I'm curious, since we're now already on day 3, was there anything that really stood out to you from the talks the past couple days, or yeah, something that you feel like you're going to really bring back to your work?
I think what I steal the most from this, still take inspiration from the placemaking week, usually are, new ways of doing things. So I loved when we did the fish bowl. What's it called?
Yeah,
The fish bowl something. And I think I will do it definitely. I mean, it's a great way to get, people into the conversation and a bit to let go of control and see how it goes. And that could be an amazing tool for engagement, because you see, sometimes we always feel it's always, a chart sheet and just chatting, but you can even do it like this, and it can spark a lot of just reflection. And I liked also yesterday game. I like games.
Yeah.
I know, I feel they are the best way to get people comfortable and at ease.
Yeah.
Because sometimes even if you get in the formal setting, what you get are formal answers.
Totally.
So like having games and playfulness, I feel it's just the key. So I always take games from from the placemaking week.
It's really an icebreaker for sure.
Yes.
For people to all of a sudden feel like they can kind of loosen up a bit and be more open to sharing. I want to shift the conversation a little bit because here we're on the Good Place bench, and you were sharing a bit about how you're moving around a lot lately in terms of like, okay, where is home? And I would love to hear from you. What's a good place to you? What would be the ideal sort of good place if you can imagine your next destination where you would like to live?
Good question. I think, can I say weirdly? Probably weirdly. Like, to me, the good places are more about who do I know in those cities or in those towns, more than the actual town itself. So I think where we are trying to move, me and my husband, hello husband, it's where we already have some connection, because I know we are kind of growing up and we know many people around Italy, so we are looking at cities where we already know someone. So I feel a good place is not only the physical space and the name of the city and the opportunities, etc., but it is also the connection that you have to the people already living there, or the connection that you can potentially build in a place, because that's also something you could do. So I feel that I mean, home is a bit where I know someone that I like, of course. I mean, let's be honest. So it's a lot like that. So I get already nostalgic. I'm not so old, but I get nostalgic sometimes. where I have a city where I know someone that I really deeply admire and love. It's about that for me.
Is it also because it's sort of like a starting point in the sense of like, okay, you know one person that you really connect with, and you see the opportunity to really build on that and make more connections with people?
Yeah, it's that, and I mean, I'm unconnected animal.
Unconnected?
Connected. So I mean, I love to speak to people, to talk to people, and I feel, I mean, sometimes I need quiet as well. But now we have our houses for that, because they are built for mostly quiet time. But I mean, if we are not connected to who is around us, I'm like, what are we doing? I mean, even at, sometimes like your job colleague are not your friends. I mean, it depends. They can become friends. And if they are not, there are still a connection. We are surrounded by people. So it's like if you're not so comfortable in being connected, it might be a bit hard. But, I think it's also something we need to embrace. Maybe not everybody wants to be super connected, which is fine as well. But that's just me. I like to have dinners and lunches together with someone else and not alone. Fun fact, I've never been to a restaurant alone. It makes me sad.
That Fun fact. It's a cool experience to try out sometime if you're up for it, of course. Do you talk to the waiter or waitress?
I don't know.
No?
Still didn't
No?
do it. I went for like 2 bars to
Yeah.
get a coffee, but that was like the highest point I reached.
Okay. Well, that's your taking steps. I think that's something worth sharing. I'd love to end off actually on this topic of connection. And since you're really a people person and love to have these types of interactions, if you were at, I don't know, if you were sitting on a public bench and somebody, a stranger, came and sat next to you, what do you think would be your icebreaker question or something you would ask them to maybe create a connection? I know it's a bit, I'm putting you on the spot, but just curious, and I think it's interesting to hear your perspective.
So I feel it's not always the same icebreaker, unfortunately. I cannot give you like one that works every time. But and what's interesting is that we are also super culturally, linked to where we are. So what I could say on a bench in Italy would not be the same that I say on a bench, I don't know, in Rotterdam or in Northern Ireland where I was for a while. And so while I'm pretty sure in Northern Ireland I can say, how are ya? And just let's go for a coffee and I'll offer you a coffee. That would not work in Italy. In Italy, I think will be a bit more small talk. For a while, like, all good, or if someone is reading a book, usually I always speak at books and see what people is reading. No, it's a bit, need to be aware of the context and see how, of course it's not 100% true, but we are so culturally sensitive sometimes, and even if we come from outside, we kind of, take some of the small ritual that we see in the place, so it depends. It really depends. Or you can even leave the other person make the first move.
You're both looking at each other, waiting. Actually, maybe you need the conversation cards that we have to spark something.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I think this was a super nice chat, and it was also really nice to connect with you here. And I hope that you enjoy the final day of Placemaking Week Europe and make lots of super nice connections. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.